What is the price of peace? Is it the blood of the guilty or the blood of the one who dares to carry all sins? In the story of Code Geass, Lelouch v. Britannia is not just a strategist, not just a rebel, and not even simply a tyrant. He is a philosophical question brought to life, a paradox between freedom and control, love and sacrifice, morality and necessity. To understand Lelouch is to dive into the heart of power itself, and to ask whether true peace can only be built on the grave of the self. Lelouch lives two lives. One as the exiled prince, a brother who loves his sister, a young man longing for ordinary happiness, and another as Zero, the masked revolutionary, the symbol of defiance, the leader who carries the hopes and fears of millions. This duality is not just a plot device. It is a reflection of the human condition itself. We all wear masks. In society, we play roles, hide our weaknesses, and reshape ourselves for others. But Lelouch takes this to the extreme. His mask becomes more real than his true face. The question emerges, when does the mask stop being a disguise and become the truth? The power of Geass is both a gift and a curse. With a single command, Lelouch can bend any will to his own. It is absolute power, the dream of tyrants, the temptation of gods. But philosophy asks, does having such power make one free or a prisoner? Lelouch quickly learns that every order carries weight, every command leaves a scar. To command another person is to strip them of their humanity. And yet, without using this power, his revolution would collapse. This paradox echoes Machiavelli. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. And it recalls Nietzsche's idea of the will to power, the drive to impose meaning upon a chaotic world. Lelouch embodies both, the strategist who uses fear as a weapon and the dreamer who reshapes reality itself. At the core of Lelouch's philosophy lies sacrifice, not the sacrifice of others, but ultimately the sacrifice of himself. He knows that true peace cannot be born from compromise with tyranny. It requires the destruction of the old order, even if it means becoming the villain of the new world. The Zero Requiem is not just a political plan. It is a philosophical act of martyrdom. By taking the hatred of the world onto himself, Lelouch creates unity through a common enemy. His death becomes the seed of peace, his villainy, the foundation of harmony. This is the paradox of his existence. To save humanity, he must condemn himself. Every ideal demands a price. For Lelouch, the price is his humanity, his relationships, even his right to be remembered as a hero. He becomes a tyrant in the eyes of the world, a monster to his enemies, and even to his closest friends. The peace he creates is not gentle or merciful. It is purchased through fear, blood, and betrayal. Here lies the central dilemma. Is the value of peace diminished if it is built on lies and sacrifice? Or is peace valuable precisely because someone was willing to pay the cost no one else dared to? Lelouch answers this question not with words, but with his death. And in doing so, he forces us to ask ourselves, would we be willing to pay such a price for our ideals? Lelouch's final act is a paradox. He wins by losing. He takes the throne, gathers the world's hatred, and engineers his own assassination. On the surface, it is defeat, the fall of a tyrant. But in truth, it is his greatest victory. By dying as the villain, he allows Zero to live on as a hero. By ending his own story, he gives the world a chance to begin anew. This is the essence of his philosophy. The self is expendable, but the idea is eternal. Lelouch's death forces us to reconsider what victory really means. Is victory the survival of the self, or the survival of one's dream? Power is never light. Every decision Lelouch makes carries weight, lives lost, futures rewritten, nations destroyed. He bears this burden alone, because true authority cannot be shared. This is the tragedy of leadership. To guide others, one must often walk in isolation. Even those who love him, Suzaku, CC, Nunnally, can never fully share his path. The mask of Zero does not just hide his face, it hides his loneliness, his despair. Philosophers have long warned of this. To rule is not to be free, but to be chained to responsibility. And Lelouch accepts those chains willingly, because only by binding himself can he break the chains of the world. Behind every revolution, behind every mask, there is still a boy who loves. Lelouch's bond with Nunnally is the hidden core of his philosophy. All his schemes, his lies, his ruthless decisions, they are driven by a single desire, to create a gentler world for her. But love in Lelouch's case becomes a double-edged sword. It inspires him to fight, yet forces him into impossible choices. To protect Nunnally, he must abandon her. To give her peace, he must make her believe he is a monster. Here lies the deepest tragedy, that the purest love demands the most painful sacrifice. Lelouch's struggle is often seen as a fight for freedom, freedom from Britannia, freedom from oppression, freedom from the cycle of war. But the irony is clear. In order to achieve freedom, he must control everything. Through fear, through manipulation, through Gaius itself, Lelouch tightens his grip on the world. His revolution is not chaos. It is order, imposed from above. And so the contradiction emerges. Can true freedom exist if it is granted by the hand of absolute control? This question is timeless. Every society wrestles with the balance between liberty and authority. Lelouch does not solve this tension. He embodies it. When Lelouch falls, the world rises. His death erases the image of a tyrant and leaves behind the myth of Zero, a symbol of justice, hope, and rebellion. But legacy is never pure. It is built from fragments of truth and layers of illusion. The world remembers Zero, not Lelouch. The man vanishes. The mask remains. This is the final irony of his philosophy. The self is forgotten so that the symbol can endure. Lelouch does not live on as a person, but as an idea. And perhaps that was his wish all along. Lelouch v. Britannia is not simply a character in an anime. He is a philosophical tragedy made flesh. A boy who sought justice, but found only power. A leader who built peace, but only through death. A hero who became a villain, so that the world could find salvation. His story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. Is morality absolute, or can it be bent in the name of a greater good? Is freedom possible without control? And above all, is peace worth the sacrifice of the self? Lelouch does not give us answers. Instead, he leaves us with silence, a silence heavy with the weight of his choice. And in that silence we realize, sometimes the greatest victories are written in blood, and the greatest philosophers are those who die misunderstood.